Welcome to the Archer Shaw Temple Podcast, teachings for sovereign awakening, sacred union, and embodied devotion. I'm Christopher Shaw, here with Aeon Archer. May this transmission meet you exactly where you are and open the next doorway on your path. Let us begin.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone that's here on Zoom and that's joining us live on YouTube. I'd also like to welcome our podcast listeners. There comes a moment in every leader's life when the identity they built, the one that earned them applause, the one that protected them, and the one that carried them through trauma, the one that kept them functioning, and the one that helped them survive suddenly collapses. Not because it failed, but because your soul refuses to let you keep living a life that has become too small for your destiny. Initiation begins the moment the self you built can no longer carry the truth of who you are becoming. Initiation is not a title. It's not an advanced spiritual stage. It's not a badge. It's not a ceremony. And it's not an achievement. Initiation is a death event, a spiritual funeral. It is the death of the persona, the death of the mask, the death of the survival identity you constructed to stay alive. The Upanishads say, when the small self dies, the great capital S self awakens. There is no spiritual adulthood without surrender, no leadership without ego death, and no awakening without the collapse of who you were pretending to be. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I was born in 1975 in the redneck Riviera town of Pensacola, Florida. After 27 hours of labor, my mother gave birth to me in an emergency C-section. As you can see, we both survived. From as early on as I could remember, I was always performing, singing and dancing and being silly. And at age 3, when my parents divorced, my mother told me that I was now the man of the house and I had to take care of her and my sister. I went from 3 years old to 18 years old in an instant. And parents, just a word of advice. Don't ever rob your children of their childhood by assigning them adult duties that are not theirs to handle. Okay, back to performing. So mom was the organist at the church and I was a trophy child. So everything that I did well made my mom look really good. So she loved that. So I was a church soloist, the high school musical star, and eventually a professional dancer touring all over Italy. I learned to perform emotion, to perform strength, to perform spirituality, to perform belonging, and to perform identity. Performance for me became survival, and survival became identity, and identity became bondage. At age 27, a knee injury forced me into early retirement and forced me to cope with life off stage. I had no tools. So my addiction to drugs, alcohol, sex, love, relationships really took off. In 2008, in New York City, in a basement apartment in Harlem, I hit bottom. Addiction had shattered my life and everything the performer had built. I entered rehab on March 15, 2008, and I've remained sober from alcohol since that day. From the ashes, I became a helper, a social worker, a therapist, a healer, a leader. But the performer didn't disappear. It followed me into adulthood. It followed me into leadership, into my recovery, into my relationships, and into my spirituality. And it took years before life finally ripped the masks off my face. For 11 years, I stayed clean from everything. And then in 2019, during the collapse of my marriage, I relapsed for 11 months, eventually returning to the needle. And I was catapulted into a midlife crisis that truly broke me open. Not wanting to enter a new decade using, I returned to the rooms, On December 23rd, 2024, December 23rd, 2019, and I reactivated my recovery tools and I got clean again. But chemical sobriety is not the same as emotional sobriety. So from 2020 to 2024, I stayed clean for the most part, but I was not well. I was grieving my divorce, and after closing the Shaw Center for Healing that happened during COVID, I was professionally lost. I loved and I still love every second of my job and my patients. I knew there was something else for me, though, something bigger, but I didn't know what. I couldn't identify what was next. So I began searching for myself in all the wrong places, in sex, in love, in work, in busyness, and in a few very important unhealthy relationships where I settled out of desperation to avoid being alone. So let's fast forward to January 2024. I was engaged to a truly good man in recovery, but something wasn't right. We had no intimacy, no touch, no sex, no shared spirituality, no deep connection, nothing really alive. And I told myself, oh, that's okay. You've had all those things before. You've had your soulmate love before. You just need someone to take care of you when you get old. But something inside me kept whispering and then screaming, no, stop. Do not go through with this. Not for him and not for you. Calling off the wedding was the most honest act of my life. But the instant I ended the engagement, a crack opened in my soul, and that crack became collapse. I relapsed for 3 months, not from desire, but from despair. I was spiritually exhausted, emotionally done, psychically empty, and dying inside. I had lost vision, I had lost hope, and I had lost my fire. But as I found out later, I did not lose my spark. This is when my initiation began. In May of 2024, I was driving to San Antonio with my best friend Brian to see our shaman Todd for a healing session. I was on the verge of tears the entire drive, barely holding it together, barely breathing. And we arrived at Todd's office. I parked the car and I broke. I burst into tears and I collapsed into Brian's arms. And for the first time, the truth came out of my mouth. I've been using again. Brian held me. Todd stabilized me. And in the quiet that followed, Spirit delivered a treatment plan with the force of revelation. Not a suggestion, not advice, but a divine command. Get clean, stay clean, and go see this medicine man named Richie Shivananda in Mexico. You see, I didn't need more coaching, more 12-step meetings, another type of 12-step meeting, work the 12 steps again, more therapy, more psychotherapeutic intensives and retreats, more trainings, or more tools in order to achieve freedom. I was at the threshold. I needed initiation. In the 3 months leading up to my initiation, I didn't rebuild my life. I prepared to bury the old one, using the tools that I had in my arsenal. With the help of my acupuncturist, Denise, I came off every medication I had been prescribed, and there were many. I quit vaping. I got a new sponsor. I worked steps 1 through 3 in 1 month my way, the old school way, quick, deep, and without negotiation. I went to meeting after meeting. I increased my service work. I surrounded myself with sober peeps, and I removed every escape hatch from my life. I wasn't healing, and I wasn't working on myself, and I wasn't improving. I was preparing for death, the funeral of the man I had been for 47 years. And when August arrived, I flew to Mexico to die and to be reborn. In August of 2024, I arrived at Nahuaque, Richie Shivananda's Healing Center in the Bay of Banderas. 10 days. Kambo, Bufo, psilocybin, meditation, journaling, silence, community, brotherhood, family, spirit, and truth. Bufo burned the false self. Kambo opened me up and healed my body. Psilocybin revealed my soul. The land held me. Richie initiated me and activated my kundalini. My lineage remembered me, and I remembered them. And the man I had been performing for my entire life died. The addict died. The performer died. The protector died. The masks died. And the capital S self beneath the rubble stood up, not improved and not upgraded, resurrected. When I returned home from Mexico, I was not the same man. Something fundamental had reorganized inside of me. My breath, my nervous system, my devotion, and my sense of self. I was free. For the first time in my life, I was free. I entered into a formal mentorship with Richie and followed my aftercare plan with absolute obedience. I woke every morning at 4 a.m. for prayer, silence, mantra, and yoga around the fire. Every night I closed the day in mantra prayer and light yogic practice. I stripped my life of all secular noise. No TV, no scrolling, no distraction, no dissociation, no dating, no sex, and no romantic relationships. Only mantra, only scripture, only breath, and only God. My relationship with my guru deepened, and I received Shaktipat. My connection to my lineage awakened. I became one with Shiva. And my divine helpers took their places. And then life accelerated, not from effort, but from alignment. The moment I returned from Mexico, I created Merkaba retreats. I then assembled a small band of courageous men to attend my final exam retreat, the first unofficial Merkaba retreat. Then Mom died. But because of my sobriety and my newfound peace, I was able to hold her hand while she took her last breath and walk her into the hands of Guru and Shiva. Her death completed something in me, a mantle passed, a lineage sealed. She was also set free, especially after I released her ashes in the Ganges, one of the most holiest rivers on earth. That was really special. Soon after, Merkaba retreats officially launched, and then came India, Varanasi, the Ganges, Mumbai, Elephant Island, Ganeshpuri. Oh, the feet of the lineage, the river, the temples, the heat, the chants, the silence, and the brotherhood. That pilgrimage amplified everything: my clarity, my intuition, my healing powers, my magic, my spiritual authority, my devotion, and my capacity to hold and to lead. Nothing I learned there was new. It was ancient. It was remembered. Returning from India, my destiny didn't unfold, it erupted. Merkaba Temple was born. I moved to Mexico while still traveling back and forth to Texas to complete what needed finishing. Habitual Prosperity launched, and I met Aeon. Or I met him again in this lifetime. Lumara emerged, websites, brands, a new identity, new offerings, and an updated mission. I completed my Kundalini teacher training. Aeon arrived full-time into my life. We offered everything to Shiva and Guru and surrendered every plan and stepped completely onto the timeline that was calling us. I moved to Mexico. He moved to Mexico, and Archer Shaw was born. And last summer, we endured the most challenging financial season of our lives, not knowing some days how we would eat or how we would pay our blessings. And for those of you who don't know what blessings are, those are bills. We call them blessings. And yet we were provided for every time. Grace held us, purpose steadied us, vision kept us warm. We began leading weekly Merkaba Temple services in August, anchoring a global field of devotion. In October, we returned to the USA to close our old life with integrity. We drove from Los Angeles to Texas with gas that was paid for by a member of the congregation. We emptied my Austin home, sold what we could, and donated the rest to families in need. 15 years of belonging released in 1 month. A karmic clearing, a severing of the false timeline. On Dia de los Muertos, we drove to Mexico with our 3 dogs to begin our new life. Still sleeping on a full-size bed, and we are 2 pretty big dudes, on a full-size bed, we began searching intensely for a home in Puerto Vallarta where we could actually have a king-size bed made for kings. And in November, the temple found us. Alignment found us. Luis and Maria, our new family and business partners, entered our lives, and a partnership formed that will leave a legacy for all of us, our families, our children, our community, and our world. Together we formed the Om Zone Yoga, Om Zone Retreats, Om Zone Wellness, Om Zone Real Estate, Om Zone Everything. And soon we will open our new sacred space legally, ethically, and with the highest integrity. This was not growth, this was acceleration. It wasn't expansion of life, it was expansion of truth. Initiation did not give me a new life. Initiation revealed the life that had been waiting behind the collapse of everything that I thought I was. Family. What happened to me is not special, it is archetypal. Initiation is not personal, it's universal. Every awakened human passes through the same doorway. Let me teach you the 4 stages of true initiation. 1, the cracking, when life stops supporting the persona. So this is the beginning. The outer structures start to collapse, the relationship breaks, the job becomes unbearable, addiction stops working, strategies fail, identity feels suffocating, and you begin to feel, I can't keep doing this. This is not failure, it's mercy. It's the shell breaking so the soul can breathe. 2, the death, when the identity can no longer function. This is ego death. The persona collapses. We lose the performer, the people pleaser, the protector, the addict, the false leader, the survival identity. And this is the loneliest stage. But nothing true is lost, only illusions die. The 3rd phase is the descent, the sacred dark. This is the womb, the cocoon, the holy pause. And it looks like stillness, confusion, emptiness, like nothing is working, but everything is working. This is where the nervous system reorganizes. This is where the soul writes your new identity, where your frequency shifts. It's what looks like when stagnation is actually gestation. And then we have the 4th phase, emergence. The new identity comes online. This is rebirth. It looks like coherence, purpose, clarity, truth, and embodied authority. Not you, but better, but you, but true. The capital S self that was always waiting beneath the rubble. Emergence isn't the reward, it's the consequence of letting your old self die. So, beloved family, some of you are in your cracking. Some of you, your death. Some in your descent, and some at the threshold of emergence. You are not being punished, you are being initiated. You are not collapsing, you are being deconstructed. You are not falling apart, you are being remade. You are not losing yourself, you are losing everything that is not you. So let something die today. A belief, a coping mechanism, a mask, a lie, a persona, a story. Because truth is the fire that brings you home. Beloved Shiva, beloved Guru, flame of the truth, burn through the identities too small for our souls. Burn away the masks that choke our purpose. Burn through every shadow we cling to for safety. Dissolve the false self, dissolve the performer, dissolve the survivor, dissolve the addict, and dissolve the fear. Reveal the self that can finally lead. Reveal the destiny that has been waiting. Reveal the truth we were born to walk. Give us the courage to step through the threshold and the grace to rise as the ones we were born to be. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Guru Om. Amen. Aho. Ashe. And so it is. Beloved family, let the prayer ripple through you. Let the fire become light. And let the truth soften into the heart. We have opened a deep doorway today. Now we enter the stillness where the soul speaks. To guide us into that sacred space, I invite my beloved Aeon, my mirror, my partner in devotion and life, to lead us in meditation. Om.
Om Namah Shivaya. All right. All right, family. Let's find a comfortable seat or lie down if that's better for your body, whatever feels supportive. I invite you to either soften your gaze or gently close your eyes. And just to name what matters, you are in charge of your experience. If anything becomes too intense, you can open your eyes, feel your feet, place a hand on your heart, or simply return to the sound of my voice. Now, begin to notice your breath. Not changing it yet, just noticing. Its natural rhythm moving in and moving out. Bring your attention to the places in your body where holding is happening. The places your body is in contact with the chair, the floor, or the ground beneath you. The earth beneath your home. The earth beneath your life. Now, gently exhale just a little longer than your inhale. In through the nose and out through the mouth slowly. Again, in through the nose and slowly out of the mouth. On your next exhale, allow your shoulders to drop just a millimeter. Allow the jaw to unclench, feeling the belly soften. Nothing to do, nowhere to be, nothing to prove. Now, silently repeat this phrase inside yourself. I am safe enough to be honest. Again, I am safe enough to be honest. Allow this honesty to be gentle. Nothing brutal, nothing forceful, just true. Now bring your mind to the part of you that has been working so hard. The identity you built to survive. The performer. The pleaser. The protector. The fixer. The controller. The achiever. Whatever form it takes in you. Don't judge it. Just recognize it. It helped you survive. It kept you functioning. It earned you approval. And it protected you from pain. And now, maybe, it's tired. I invite you to place your hand on your heart, if that feels good. Place your hand on your belly and whisper inwardly to the old self, thank you. Thank you for getting me here. Thank you for trying. Now ask softly without pressure, what am I holding on to that has become too small for my soul? No need to answer with the mind. Allow the body to speak. Let an image come, a feeling, a word, and whatever arises, just let it be here. Now imagine a fire in front of you. Not a wildfire, a sacred fire. Steady, wise, controlled. The kind of fire that doesn't destroy what's true, only what is false. And in your hands, imagine you're holding one thing the old identity clings to. A mask, a story, maybe a coping strategy, a lie you've had to live inside, a role you can't keep playing. We are not shaming it. We are not hating it. We are simply telling the truth. You can't lead my life anymore. And on your next exhale, gently offer it to the fire, letting it go, letting it burn. And as it burns, repeat to yourself inwardly, only what is false is leaving. Again, only what is false is leaving. Now let yourself drop into the quiet stillness inside, the quiet pause after release, the holy spaciousness that all of life exists inside of. If the mind wants to rush ahead, bring it back gently, back to the breath, back to the body. This is the descent, the womb, the cocoon, the place where nothing looks like it's happening, but everything is being rewritten. Breathe into your belly and silently repeat, I can rest inside the unknown. Again, I can rest inside the unknown. Now, imagine behind the smoke of the burning, behind the cracked shell, there is you. See that version of you step forward. How do they stand? How do they breathe? What is different in their eyes? And let them speak a simple sentence to you. Not a lecture, not a demand, just one truth. Now place a hand on your heart again and repeat. I choose truth over performance. I choose devotion over distraction. I choose my soul over my fear. Taking another deep breath in and hold at the top. Pause, pause, and exhale slowly. Feeling the ground again, the room around you, and the steadiness of this moment. And no, initiation is not punishment. It is mercy. The fire is not here to shame you. It is here to set you free. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Guru Om. Amen. Aho. Ashe. And so it is.
Welcome back, family. I'd like to speak briefly and honestly about how the temple is held. So Merkaba Temple isn't funded by an institution or staff. It's sustained the way spiritual communities have always been sustained, by the people who receive from it and feel called to help hold it. If this space steadies you, if these teachings bring you clarity, if this community feels like home, then participation is part of how we keep the field coherent, not from pressure or obligation, but from shared care. So if you're able, I invite you to participate now by taking out your phone, going to Venmo and typing in Merkaba Temple, or through the website merkabatemple.com/donate. You can give once, choose weekly or monthly support, whatever feels aligned with how this temple supports you. What sustains this space is not a few people giving a lot, but many people giving with intention. So thank you for helping hold the temple that helps hold you.
Thank you for being here with us at Archer Shaw Temple. If something in this teaching helped your body soften or brought you back into yourself, let it keep moving. Share it with someone who's ready. This temple is sustained through conscious participation, through those who feel the resonance and choose to support the work from clarity, not pressure. If you feel called into right exchange, you're welcome to support the mission on Venmo at Merkaba Temple, all one word. And if you'd like to go deeper, you can schedule a complimentary soul alignment session at archershaw.guru. Until next time, take care of your nervous system, walk gently, and stay close to what's true.